Ndio sasa kuna nini ngapi videos umerelease?
Tumefika mpaka episode. Sasa hii ni episode 7 sasa.
7.
Lakini videos tuseme ni
video ni kadhaa.
11. Lakini ni fun.
Ni fun. As nini kitu unafanya bro, you pass your time well.
Yeah.
Una share opinions.
I think to live.
Bado kuna historia ya government's efforts to curb alcoholism na illicit brews. Pia elicit a lot of reaction from many people.
Iya nani?
Ya Gachagua.
Lakini Gachagua. Gachagua jai ni bamba.
Jana I was telling someone, Gachagua, we've lived long enough to hate him and to just let him be. Mambo ikianza kila mtu alikuwa anamdiss. Sasa hizi hata unasikia tu akiongea fanya mambo yako.
Unazoea tu.
Tushamzoea.
Ni live.
Tukala
Tuanze. Hello guys, karibuni sana to the Dnm Podcast episode 7. Leo ni Easter. Leo ni Easter Friday. For all the Christians, have a beautiful Easter Friday as you join us on the live. Sindio? Leo kwa set niko na a different person, so ndampia chance ajiintroduce.
Hello guys, my name is Lemayan Yenko. I am a lawyer by profession. Yeah, but I am not yet an advocate. I am a Gen Z lawyer. Dave is a good friend of mine.
To be specific.
Kuna two categories of lawyers right now. Kuna not even lawyers but employment. Kuna Gen Z na kuna the rest. Millennials, boomers.
Boomers ni grandfather.
Boomers ni all I think from 70s backwards. Then millennials in the 80s, 9 to 92. Mostly our parents, 76 to your timeline.
So our parents ni boomers.
Ni millennials. Some are boomers, some are millennials. If your parents was 70s, 80s, he's a millennial. 70s, 60s, boomer.
Nice. So leo tunataka tuongee in terms of the political landscape venye iko, the law landscape, kwa sababu siku hizi hizo vitu zina intertwine sana. Government, politics and the legal stuff.
Yeah.
Na you're well versed in that field. Unaweza tuonyesha as in one or two things vitu hatujui.
Yeah.
So first ni the state of the country, corruption, mismanagement of funds. Na in general unaona tunaenda wapi ka a country.
As a country, first, yesterday two of the leading newspapers in Kenya, that is the Daily Nation and Standard, they had a very loud cover. If I can say the front story. You know, the front story of a newspaper is something that is thought out well clearly. It was talking about the endemic called corruption. And they had the approximate average figure of the average corruption that an ordinary Kenya pays to any government agency. From schooling, taking your child to a better school, getting documents from government offices, getting employment opportunities, the average amount of bribe that is paid is 11,000 shillings. So it ranges. Any bribe. Bribery, it's a child of corruption. Yani Mkenya tu nakuwa umeka 11,000 mahali unajua hii mwezi I will bribe my way around, and to make it sad, it's part of the culture. It's not even an epidemic. It's a Kenyan culture.
Ni kitu tumezoea.
Unatembea ukijua mimi ndaenda I bribe my way to employment, I bribe my way to Huduma Center, I get the papers. Let me give you a story. There was a time I needed a good conduct. So I had a deadline. Nilikuwa na deadline ya like 2 weeks. So nimekimbia Huduma Center, si kuenda GPO, nikaenda Isli. Because a friend aliniadvise Isli quite fast.
Oh, you're processing.
Kuprocess, uliprocess hii mambo ya good conduct, I needed to apply for something. Fika hapo hivyo, the soldiers of course at the gate will squeeze wako na NYS soldiers. Kwa gate ya Huduma Center unapata watu wa NYS. Wanakuuliza unataka nini? Uko na appointment. You know, kuna ile squeeze, kuna services hawezi pata Huduma Center bila appointment. Na the appointment to get it online. So I never knew the process. Kama una appointment, we rudi after 2 weeks. Ukiapply saizi the next appointment date ni after 2 weeks.
Na deadline ni 2 weeks.
Unaona deadline hiyo, opportunity yangu ni 2 weeks. And then now I am in a corner. Na sando before and you know I'm already talking about this problem to a soldier. See professional officers inside Huduma Center.
Oh, bado uko kwa gate.
Niko kwa gate, niko kwa mlango hapo hivyo. Jamaa wa NYS amenikalia gumu, ananiambia wewe hata kuingia hapa uwezi bila appointment. Appointment lazima. Kidogo sasa kuona mina hari akanita kando, as they always do in any office in anywhere. Even a police officer atakuita kando. Naambia sasa nipatie 500 niende niongee na watu hapa ndani wa kuhudumia. Bila hiyo appointment, juu kuna haraka na kuna laini, wewe leta tu 500. And now as a Kenyan who knows these opportunities that I will miss, it's very important. And I also know bila 500 siwezi ona. You will have to sacrifice that 500 shillings. So unaona, I as a bribe taker and you as a bribe giver, ni wote mko part of the problem. It's not always he who receives, but the Kenyan population, we always willingly give bribes.
But I think ni ukiangalia in the perspective ya the Kenyan, anaangalia if I go the legal route,
the route
itakuwa almost double ama triple, na bado my time tapoteza time kwenda law as in kwa courts, na si ati ni courts ziko as in, unajua courts zingekuwa zina process hizo vitu haraka. So ni tricky. So if in my opinion tunge solve the legal framework in a way, ukioffend tuseme umeshikwa speeding, you know how it goes, and in your mind you have an approximate figure, or if it's not a figure, you know how to maneuver. Ka ujui kumaneuver na uko na njia ya bribe, hata mi it's easy bana.
Utatoa tu mbio. Like the states, that's what they do. You do a traffic offense and you are just billed directly to your account.
Nice.
Or they're telling you have this appointment in court at this time. You cameras took you over speeding in a certain highway. You're just cut directly. Yani the penalty tu ishaenda for your wrongdoing.
Alafu ni judgment is instant.
Just judgment is instant.
Na hiyo ni important somehow. Kwanza alafu should we accept the mistake? Whose mistake is it? Is it the giver, the receiver, or both? Or it's something we cannot stop?
There is always a cure to anything, and the fact that this conversation is always being talked about gives me hope that one day we will be talking about it as history. Under the current legislative framework on corruption as an offense, or bribery, kuna the Bribery Act.
Kuna?
And it gives liability, or it accords liability to both the bribe giver and the bribe taker. Of reasons, kumekuwa na kesi ya impeachment of Kisii deputy governor. Alipatiwa 800,000 to secure employment for this young Kenyan and then the case blew out, imekuwa evidence, they give father, son are giving evidence against each other. I was surprised that Senate they impeached the governor, but they only looked at one side. Said that the governor was taking bribes. But this person giving evidence, again, he's actually self-incriminating. If I say nilikupatia 800,000, knowing I was giving you as a token to get employment. And then later you don't give me this employment. I now go to Senate to say that you are participating in gross misconduct. That is self-incrimination. Nika walim set up. It's a setup, and it's both ujamali incriminate in a court of law. Maybe it was because your Senate, they don't follow a lot of court procedures. They just impeach, and the person on the dock was the governor. But on an ideal situation, if you ask me, imagine if this guy got the job, would we even have known about him giving 800? Sema vile alipeana hiyo do, si
ingekuwa
chini ya maji mambo ishe, and then he will be an enabler of the same pandemic. So both the bribe giver and bribe taker
are both liable.
Part of the problem. They're part of the problem big time. Ule kara wanachukua hongo na ule jamaa anampea, first of all yeye anajua gari yake iko na shida. So unasikia hadi dereva anasemwambia hizi kosa shida kwa hii gari. So ukikoga na a full proof car, like your papers are good, license updated, everything in mint condition, and then unapotana na karao hapo hata kusumbua aje. So
inakuwa
ngumu. From
lakini,
our own,
unajua argument ya Donda inaweza kuwa unaweza fanya everything to the
mint condition,
but bado watakutafutia something. Na hiyo something watakusumbua tu. Unaona? Hata kasi legally wanaweza chukua like 2-3 hours hapo, wanakuambia kijana wewe
overspeed. Uli overtake pale kwa kona.
Ekituwezi prove as in.
So there is always a price of being good. And being good there is always a price. So if you are ready to pay that price, it's quite expensive, like any, you are curing a cancer. It's a cancer. And corruption is a cancer to a lot of things. Corruption is what will make young kids die in hospitals because of lack of medicines. You mentioned counties. I think we will talk about the impact of counties on corruption.
The devolved unit.
But a lot of preventable disasters are happening because of corruption. Flooding. People have money for urban planning, they don't. People have money for good hospital infrastructure. Patients are in hospitals with no beds, no medicines, no life support. But the money is always there. Ukiangalia from the inception of devolution, billions of money have been pumped to at least help counties improve the health services. But you find a lot has been misappropriated. A lot of that funds has been misappropriated by county governors.
So, in your opinion, is the devolved unit of governance, i.e. the counties, is it helping the country in a plunge into a bigger hole of corruption?
I think devolution as a concept has both its ills and its gains. And honestly speaking, I think it has made a lot of progress. Corruption notwithstanding, counties have played a big part in uplifting the interior towns. Places like Mandera, places like Narok, Samburu, Coast region. A lot of these areas for so long before the 2010 constitution, they were alienated from the national cake. Napata roads were only being built in Nairobi, Kiambu, towns around. But devolution brought a threshold. Pesa kuna hii lazima iende kwa every county. Counties must be allocated a certain amount of money. The Senate acts as the spokesperson for county governments. They always argue or they support more allocation, budgetary allocation for counties. So counties,
CDF and everything.
CDF and stuff, counties gain a lot of money before this creative, this money was never going there. But after their creation, at least unaona towns have grown up. Nakuru town was a town, it's now a city. Because Nakuru county government ili upgrade. Look at hospitals also being built. So counties, I cannot speak a lot of negative things about it. It has devolution has been a magic pill, I think, for the Kenyan society.
So it has worked in a certain degree.
It has worked, but a lot still needs to be done when it comes to management of county funds. Hapo ndio tu kuna tashwishi. But then the idea itself, the idea of counties, the idea of devolution, the idea of devolving funds and functions, creating governments within a government, has been able to grow the country itself, has been able to grow counties, but corruption has prevented the idea from being realized. The idea is good, still part of progress in putting it down, but a lot needs to be done in putting the systems to work efficiently. The system should work efficiently without any problem, but they seem not to be working.
Nasa, how can we solve that? Because if corruption is, if devolved units are a good thing for the country, na vile umesema inapeleka pesa mashinani, tuseme hiyo.
Peleka pesa mashinani.
So how can we make sure the system is well oiled? Hakuna hiccups, hakuna kwa sababu kama most of the money comes from taxes and easy revenues are gava. If we can get a credible way kufikia mama mboga with the county funds without corruption, hiyo inaweza happen aje?
There is one thing that my senator in Narok usually says, Ledama Lekina.
Oh, Ledama.
Ledama, yeah. Ledama is... Shout out to Ledama. Ledama is a very progressive leader. Because when it comes to promoting devolution, he's very vocal on it. And he says two things, that the land and the community or society will always remain. But me, you... those in leadership, governments, you Chama, you could see Jubilee did its 10 years left, UDA go around, so is making the noise, they will also leave at some point. But one thing that will always remain to be constant is land. And land is our country, the counties, the governments, the structures, land and the community, the society. So if our leaders could only realize that they're just a passing cloud, how to make sure the system is efficient, they will pass. We don't want them to rule forever. They will pass. So if only each person does his or her roles as envisioned by the law, corruption will be a very foreign concept. If, look at, for example, the governor has duties, management of county funds, management of the county. He's the chief executive of the CEO wa county, and your governor.
And your boss.
And your boss, and your preso. Senator kwa hapo hivyo, atete governor wake apatiwe better allocations, and also to oversight him. Is the governor really doing his mandate? Is he actually using the money as per the budget or whatever they were agreeing on? Look at the county assemblies, MCAs. MCAs are also playing an oversight role, but they rarely do that. They politicize the issue. They make it political. They also have political ambitions. They go to bed with governors also. We've seen many instances where MCAs wamewekwa kwa mfuko na governor. Hawezi wamefinywa hadi hawezi ongea. So if
lakini unajua at the same time hiyo story ya funding of politicians during campaigns, I think upon the problem inaanza, because if you're funded by, tuseme person X is funded by me, when he's in government I will expect whatever I say
mtarudisha pesa.
Pesa lazima irudi. So hata hiyo funding, how does the funding go kwanza? Yeah, the
funding of campaigns
ama politicians.
There is an act of parliament. I don't think it has ever been implemented. The Campaign Finance Act. And the Campaign Finance Act usually places cap on the amount of money that maybe a governor can use during campaigns, the amount of money a president can use, the amount of money an MCA, a senator can use. And it sought to fill the vice of campaign funding. Ilikuwa inataka kulevel the field.
Itasaidia.
If it is ever going to be implemented, it has, for the previous 2-3 elections, it has not been implemented. You will see the president will pour over 1 billion shillings just to win the presidency. MPs. Nilisikiza podcast ya MC Jesse when he was campaigning Igembe. Uko Meru. He used in a day he would use the tunes of 1 million for campaigns.
A day.
Fueling, posters, wale wanapiga kelele kwa magari. Watu mtu anakuimba jina yako the whole day. You pay these people a lot of money. And then you don't win. Another one wins, but you have spent close to 100 million. And your salary as an MP is only 800, 900 per month. Keka allowance.
Even if you do the math, hata rudisha hiyo pesa.
Salary wise. Haikuwa amerudisha hiyo do. But sasa unasikia amepewa ya CDF pale. The governor has this budget. Do inaogelea tu unasikia projects. So I think most of the money usually goes back to paying those political debts.
Na sasa to prepare for the next.
Also to prepare for the next election.
So ni cycle moja mbaya sana.
It's a cycle that is bad. Yeah, it's a culture. It's a political culture that is... It's not good. But now what do we do about it? We go changing the narrative pole.
Yeah.
I think that is the only way that can make that thing work. But so, your act implementiwa. If we could really, if IEBC would be tight on politicians, I think it will go a long way in curbing all this issue about campaign financing. So unatumia to yako huko, then ukishashinda unalaumu hadi mwananchi. Unasema walikukula pesa. Sasa hiyo wewe ndio ulipiga campaign hivyo. Will not adhere to the act.
Lakini sasa in Kenya laws we have
laws exist.
And everything is because the people who wrote the constitution, they thought of every situation, circumstance.
The drafters were really intentional.
But sasa place in a fall short maybe in implementation.
Exactly. That's a very big observation. Implementation of the constitution and the laws still is an ongoing struggle.
But we hope it work out.
We hope it works out.
Because this is our country, man. We have no other country, man.
Ni Kenya moja.
Ni moja. So after the devolved units and corruption, bado kuna history ya land. Pamekuwa na a lot of stories currently on how legal or illegal land is acquired, how kuna makatel wanakuja na wafukuza kwenyu. Hiyo kitu mimi inanibother kwa sababu one, land is expensive. So if ukiamua kuenda your route, una drain a lot of energy and money your sector. So unaweza to explainia the legal ways of how unaweza identify fraudulent people ama kujua tu which is sincere, which is not sincere.
Vile tu we said, the laws are very clear and conversant. The law is clear that as before an ini is done, before just fix it first. Before any land transaction happens, there must be two people, a willing buyer, a willing seller. The willing buyer will come, and the law requires him to do something called due diligence. and there are several things that you're supposed to first confirm. Maybe from the lands ministry, maybe from the National Land Commission, from the titles registry, stuff, due diligence. And
ujue the details.
Yeah, for you to be a bona fide buyer for value, you must be a willing buyer. And this buyer must demonstrate goodwill. And the moment you have come to an agreement, they mostly say lazima ukuwe na wakili hapo, because he understands the legal agreements, and also it's good to have a witness who will be able to defend you later.
Or during the transfer?
During the transaction. You do your due diligence as a buyer. You approach a lawyer. You willing buyer, willing seller. Agree on the amount, do the signing up, and the transfer of ownership. And tunajua transfer of ownership is transfer of title. Once you may authenticate that the title is legitimate, then you will be the legitimate owner of the land. But the biggest challenge now imekuwa corruption happening in those offices, the National Land Commission. There has been a lot of allegations of collaboration between these land cartels and officials in the ministry, where they go and create fake titles. Because hapa Karen kuna a lot of cases like that. These posh areas, I've had a lot of
Karen, Kileleshwa,
Lavington. Where cartels will go to the Ministry of Land. They look at leases. Kuna zile leases za 99 years. They find the owner, wanasikia maybe she's a widow, maybe probably white. They go to the Ministry of Land. The lease is about to expire. They quickly look for a new title, a new lease, and they go even to court and get a court order of eviction. So it's a long chain on all these systems of government being used to make sure that lady loses his land. And now because she's weak, she's a foreigner. These people have powerful figures in government and in those ministries. You find that lady will lose her land in the end. Now imagine to the poor Kenyan, his small piece of land, maybe in Nairobi, elsewhere. It's a pandemic.
In the tricky na shida ni there's no, as in people are not addressing the as in ichukuliwi na ile
the seriousness it deserves.
Tricky sana cause as in mimi najua land kwanza Wakikuyu najua Kikuyu wako crazy na land. So unaweza pata people are going into depression, anxiety and everything. Mchezo tu.
My family was once involved in a land dispute with it was land that belonged to my grandpa. And he was called Mr. Jones. He sold 4 acres of land deep in Narok town. And then the Muindi grabbed 4 other acres. So I sell you 4 acres, and back it was in 2007, 2008, 2006, around 2006, 2007. You sell someone 4 acres of land, and you remember that time land was cheap. You sell 4 acres of land, and then he takes 4 acres, so he gets 8 acres. And then my grandpa died in 2004. He died in 2004, so I think the deal was done in 2003 to 2004. But now the Muindi had taken. But my grandma had the papers. Alijua the legitimate land that was sold to this Muindi. He was a powerful Indian businessman. He used to deal with this roadster truck movements to Uganda. So he had a big logistics company in those 4 acres. My grandma started following the case from 2005, 2006, 2007. The case was concluded in 2023 actually, last year. It took almost 16, 17 years. Even Standard featured that story on one of their papers of how a widow spent over 16 years in court battling with land cartels. These people will buy his advocates. They will buy the judge. He will transfer the case to another court. They will frustrate her. They will tell her they want to sell her the land with the value ya 207. So imagine mtu akwambia sasa si 4 acres niko nayo. I want to buy it with the money that I bought it in 207. Maybe I'll buy it 400,000. So the land is valued at 60 million.
Yenye hiyo ni
Yeah,
kuna wizi hapo.
kuna wizi. So for the first time, I was able to be happy with how the court conducted itself. You know, the creation of the environment and labor court. No, environment and lands court. Those are special courts that are created by the constitution to look into special issues. Kuna environment and land court, specifically jurisdiction, land disputes, issues of ownership and stuff. Bado kuna ile employment and labor relations court. They deal with specific issues. So Kayo Environment and Lands Court, since its inception, has really worked a lot in terms of solving those land disputes. It's a special, unique court. So for the first time, I saw the benefits of it. The judgment was very cohesive. We'll see that indeed justice was delivered. So although it took long,
judgment ilikuwa,
it said that the legitimate owner of the 4 acres was my grandma. Because the papers will show that Ali buy 4 acres, then added 4 acres on his land. Yeah.
Aliongeza 4 acres on top of
the legitimate yenye alinunua. So koti kamwachia hiyo 4 acres yake, kamwambia rudishia mama 4 acres yake.
Nice.
That was very rarely will you find. Nasikia those old ladies have stayed in court for 30 years, 50 years. They target people who can't defend themselves. Yeah.
Nenye hiyo ni sad.
It's sad. It's a sad story.
Inafaa kuwa kitu solved. But
hopefully we shall realize the fruits of the land and environment court. It's working. It might be working slowly right now. The wheels might be turning slow. But hopefully
inafanya tu.
Hopefully itakuwa sawa.
Alafu kwanza hiyo story, tutonge hiyo story ya nani? Anaitwa aje?
Yeah.
Raila. Raila leaving the political scene is crazy for a start, kwa sababu it's a new sasa political landscape, kwa sababu hakuna nani hiyo ndio the main opposition leader sahi. So watu wana it's up for grabs.
The office of the official opposition leader.
Si kwa sababu hakuna, si ndio?
Hakuna
kabisa.
Nilisikia babu akisema juzi, baba akitoka babu anaingia.
Unaona anaweza kuwa replacement fiti.
Babu? Babu is smart, he's eloquent. He's a fighter, but he's young. And the office of the official opposition leader needs some bit of experience, grit. It's a politically heated position. And I believe he needs a few experiments, a few more years in the political scenery. But replacing Baba himself is not an easy thing. Nobody will fit those shoes, I can tell you. They can try, but Baba ni Baba.
27 patahitaji mtu wa
opposition.
To go against sasa the big man Ruto himself. Na sasa hapo atakuwa na the state.
Ruto tuseme tu atapiga yake 10, lakini I love opposition politics. If they would arrange themselves well, they have a formidable team also. And with how government is doing its things, with the false promises, there is always the false promises of a government. This one had a lot of grandiose plans for the hustler.
Mama mboga.
And it seems it's not turning out well for them. The border chaps after imepanda and all that kind of thing. If the government will be able to not work on that, and the opposition to capitalize on the failures of this government, because there are many, it is going to be they can have a shot. And you know, a lot of people in government have not been voting for the other side because of Baba.
Mostly, true.
Mostly a central. Baba, mzee wa vitenda.
I think nika after 2007 nika trust haiko irudi.
Trust has never irudi.
Kwa sababu there's something, hata even my parents ama tulikuwa sema wanaitwa millennials. ukiketi usikiliza wakiongea unaona nikaa there's something bado haijaisha,
kuna handshake ijapigwa
ama kuna pole ijasemwa vizuri.
Ilianza 20 ilianza actually independence after Kenyatta amekosana na VP wake baba ya baba Odinga. And he said I cannot get salary from a position I am not working, and he resigned. Antagonism ilianzaga hapo. Walisema sasa mzee wa huko anataka kunyang'anya mzee wetu kiti. Ameanza kubishana kidogo, ameform party. Nani Jomo Kenyatta ameenda Kisumu, amepigwa na mayai. Nakumbuka hizo saga. We've read it from history. I think hapo ndio hiyo beef ilianza. Na imekuwa repeated propaganda. Mtoto akizaliwa anaambiwa baba ule si mtu mzuri. It has been a
ama inakuwa selective, unaonyeshwa vitu zake mbaya,
vitu mbaya. Ule mzee ni mganga. Akisijui akishinda atachukua mali zetu wapeleke huko. It's been a propaganda that has worked for their political elites. But baba has always been relevant. They have always said they will send him to Bondo. Baba always finds his way around governments. He has worked with all governments. Moi
alianza
way back. He has a lot of political capital. Ndo nakwambia hadi kumreplace it's not going to be an easy task.
So give us your prediction for the 2027 battle.
Nani atakuwa kileleni on the opposition side?
Ya 2022 ilikuwa Ruto, Raila. Sasa 2027
Ruto will be on the mix. Personally, speaking with my bias and my political inclination, I will favor a young Turk to take over, because you see Ruto's side is filled with many young people with energy. And one of the things naona ilikost Azimio was they were old mzes fighting with a fierce side with young, energetic. So inside ya baba saizi pia they can rebrand. They have very fierce, young, brilliant minds. Sifuna, Babu, Olekina, Joho, you can also be part of the mix. They have that arrogance.
Kwanza Joho umesikia amevai.
Anavai kwa, he's the deputy chairman. Anaona it is only right he gets the chairman. He has also his claim. Oparanya also has his claim. Oparanya pia amekuwa deputy chairman. ODM imekuwa na deputy chairman wawili. So kuna hizo factions. One wants Joho, another faction wants Oparanya. Oparanya anataka kuwa na a lot of Western MPs, kina Arati, governor wa Kisii. Saidi ya Joho na iko na the young Turks, kina Babu, Uledama. But Sifuna akosaidia Oparanya because of the tribal, they are both from
lakini sasa ita break the coalition into two.
They are trading on a very dangerous ground as ODM. Maybe we might get ODM asili, ODM at least number 4. If they don't handle it as careful, they might end up breaking one of the oldest and loved parties in Kenya.
So ujasema prediction yako?
I'm predicting for the young Turks. I would want Sifuna to be the Secretary General. Kalonzo is also part of the mix.
Nataka useme
succession ya baba. Si election ya 2027.
Basi mwenye anamsucceed ndio obviously aizi msucceed alafu akataka kumpea kiti ya president ama the running.
Let's say ODM elect someone like Oparanya. So Oparanya can deputize someone like Kalonzo, because unajua Kalonzo has been instrumental in Baba's political. There's always been that agreement between the Kambas and that huyu mzee tumemshikilia mkono hizi miaka zote.
Watu hii itawa kweli Kalonzo?
Kalonzo naweza sema mimi sionagi kama kuna the charisma. Unajua leadership pia ni charisma. Ile people will die for you. Baba that. Baba watu wataenda. But you assertion, assertive, you have supporters willing to die for you. If we can get such a person, naona mtu kaa Babu can easily get that. Your enthusiasm raised.
Hata nani Sifuna, I think Sifuna has a bright career.
Yeah. Our young Turks, no me, I look forward to a future of ODM where it's led by those young minds. Kina Paranya Joho, they are more or less continuing the culture of Baba. Nothing new. But he approach this confrontational approach.
Usishiki nini? Ukishika ina vibrate.
This confrontational approach. Yeah, kina Sifuna. I think hiyo ndio inaweza deal na Kenya Kwanza. Watu wako aggressive, factual, hungry, young. No jokes.
Straight to the point.
Look forward to that. So your prediction yangu.
So Sifuna. Sifuna on the ballot.
Sifuna not politically mature to be on the ballot to compete with the likes of Ruto. But he will take over one day. Maybe not 2027.
Yeah.
But after the future.
Na sa 2027. Unajua nataka tuone ka prediction yako
inaweza ingiana. I would look at a Kalonzo, Karua sort of partnership. Plus maybe someone from Oparanya hivi. Because unaona Baba sasa atatoka kwa mix. They're only big fish. They must pick someone from Western. Nyanza, no one is fit to. Kina Babu bado ni wadogo. But I would fancy the likes of Natembea kisa simama hivi na mtu kaka Kalonzo. Analeta hiyo energy because he is also a fierce general.
But itakuwa a good move for the kama kina Sifuna. They throw their hearts in knowing they will not win.
But they have tried.
But unaona kama sasa tukisema kama nani Wajakoya. Kama Wajakoya ange build on that fame yenye alipata hiyo period ya campaign. Inge turn out ikuwe a bigger following. Lakini so unaona alienda kafifia. Si ati amefifia but ako vocal sana.
Wajakoya.
So ndo nasema is it a better idea if they throw their hearts into the ring early as 2027 knowing hawatashinda but wanaweza shinda politically in terms of
political capital. It's a good idea but the problem with that is you risk being in the political cold for 5 years. Unasaka maybe na vice senator. Sasa yeye ni senator. Babu ni MP Embakasi. And then aseme anataka kwenda kungangania deputy president. He loses that. And so he doesn't become a deputy president. He's not in parliament. He doesn't have a platform. He's just another leader. Unaona mtu kama Peter Kenneth vile anakuwa irrelevant. Kuzana you don't have a podium. If they Ruto pia jai kwa outside government. He's been MP, and then deputy president, the first short deputy president, and then president.
Mse ni smart. Let's give him his roses.
He's a political monster. He has never lost, never loses. And then uniambie sasa 2027 a lose.
Enyewe hiyo itakuwa
it's gonna be a hard thing.
So in your opinion, do you think in one time in your life career utaingia politics ama
personally before I answer that I think let me avoid to answer your question and you'll go umeniuliza because I see the scenario where even the government itself right now it might disintegrate. We will find new alliances. Ruto might find a new alliance with maybe Nyanza at some point. His relationship with Gema is one that is very crucial and critical. You know, they're enemies who became friends. Can kumbuka the history of 2007. Even the handshake between him and Uhuru was critical. Ilifanywa because of ICC and stuff. They were never good friends as a community. So 2027, who needs the other? Is it Ruto needs Gema or Gema needs Ruto? Ruto has become now too powerful to even depend on them. You can say, you know what? Sinimepea baba AU. Let me go and make a handshake with watu wa Nyanza. I have worked with ODM in 2007. I have friends there. I have friends with Mudavadi. I have given him foreign minister. He's my prime cabinet. He can become a deputy in 2027. And when Western Baba blesses him with the Western vote, and then Kalonzo on the other hand anaangalia Ruto unini imemkataa, maybe apige handshake na the game. Who knows, like
inaweza
it can be anyhow.
Dynamic.
Yeah, we'll come back to this when that time comes and see how it will go.
Tuko tu around.
We're not politicians, but we see how things go.
So utaingia politics at one point ama unaona politics
there is someone who said, I don't remember the person who said this, but he said that you might not take an interest in politics, but politics will take an interest in you. And for so far, in school I have done politics. I have served in campus. I have served in high school, and I have a natural inclination to that
leadership.
Yeah. I aspire to always make that difference in my community, and a gap will always come. You see, the Kinamois were here, the Ruto back then were the young Turks. Kina baba walipigana na Moi alienda, kina baba waliingia, wamesumbua, wameenda. The Rutos are around. They will come, they will go. So there will come a time when the positions right now will be occupied by people our age, Gen Z. And if you can be able to put yourself before people and articulate your ideas, if you have a dream and a vision to help your community, your people, it is a path that will always be explored. And as a lawyer also, I have a strong inclination with politics. I believe I can be able to, before I even build my political career, my legal career first, and then maybe the politics will come later.
So it will come when it comes.
My friends usually call me future Narok senator because of Ledama. Ledama, is very prominent, and so tukiongea tuna mabesti Ledama, yeah, it's an opportunity that will come, and God willing, say it's God who gives leaders. God willing, if an opportunity will arise, says he mind.
Yes, see, but as in we need. Maybe personally, politics. It depend why I want to join. If I have a good reason why, I will. But say currently,
what do you think is a good reason?
A good reason is bringing positive change. Am I having a good impact on the society? As in, you being there, not being there, the impact is still being felt. That is kwangu. That's what leadership is.
Can you make a difference if you are outside?
Yeah, a big difference. Kwa sababu ukiwa outside government, hauna scrutiny ya the public eye as much as kama venye the story of Sakaja. Sumisikia hiyo story, anasema you're going higher.
Yeah. He's ignoring urban planning laws.
Yeah. So if you wanted to make a difference outside the government, angeza bado.
Yeah.
Sindio? But yakamwende the political way. So kuna two ways, I think.
You can go the political way and the legal way.
Yeah.
What do you think about hiyo ya kujenga?
His
reasoning is valid.
And ni valid, but at the same time, inafaa ifanywe according to the law. Nika akona ploti hapo 3 ama 4.
Alisema niliconsult mkubwa rais. Rais nikamwambia pale airbase hizi uitumi twende tujenge pale hadi 25-75 floors. So aliconsult mkubwa.
but haikuwaki hivyo.
Kati ya Ruto na Lo nani mkubwa?
Na nimenote hiyo ni one constant stuff na igava.
Yeah.
Nikawa napuuzilia
a lot of legal requirements.
Yeah. Nika hao ndio walitumia MUAX. Sasa wanatuonyesha
like nika wanajua kuliko what is the law. Unajua ukiambiwa to simply follow the law. It's simple.
And there's a reason why.
Participation. Consult the people on your projects. If it's following due procedure, follow due procedure. Na si kufanya vitu kienyeji.
So yeah, Sakaja, I think it's a valid point. Nairobi is growing. We need more housing, cheaper housing. But also tukiekelea manyumba mob hivyo, the quality of life itaenda low sana.
Reduce.
Alafu watu watakuwa happy. Bado tunafaa tuangalie the quality. Sindio?
Playgrounds. Wanasema kids in Nairobi don't have playgrounds. They don't have amenity parks. Uhuru Park, another important asset in Nairobi for Nairobi residents, has been closed.
Imefungwa?
Uhuru Park haijafunguliwa since Uhuru started renovating it, I think in 2020 or 2019. Ukipita hapo Uhuru Park saizi, it's a paradise, it's garden, no constructions, but it's closed. So you're wondering what's happening. Na for a normal Nairobian, you understand the significance.
Uhuru ilikuwa, hata mimi nakumbuka nilikuwa Sunday nikikosa vibe naendaga tu huko
Uhuru Park. Okay, sasa ukienda kutuma CV town, unangoja watu interview, unaenda Uhuru Park, kuna media hapo.
Yenyewe inakuwa as in city,
it's an important asset to citizens. Or the people in the slums will come out Friday, take your kids to Uhuru Park, ride boats, kule snacks, iconic pictures of the city. Sakaja hajatufungulia, sijui wanataka kuiuza. Maybe they want a private developer.
But it's Kenya, hii ni Kenya, si unajua tu.
It's Kenya.
Inahapenigi tu hivyo. So hiyo construction, I really think wakifanya according to as in consult tu watu, inaweza fanywa in the right way
with consultations from experts.
Sababu tukiachia private developers wa figure out, itakuwa chaos.
Chaotic. Towns, even there is someone suggested to him, you leave these residential homes alone. If Karen has this standard of living, if this is how those people have been, the urban planning laws has been having this reasoning. Your reasoning will change. There is still, the value of their land still has to remain the same. Nairobi, yes, people are coming. But if you can have an efficient transport system, people can be living outside the outskirts of Nairobi.
Hata Bonga,
Kajiado, wengine wako Limuru, others Kiambu. You have an efficient transport system, people will be coming and going. But the town is still in order. CBD is CBD. The residential areas are residential areas.
Yeah, that's a better idea by far.
Improve the efficiency of transport. Ushaona hivi malika hapo hivyo stage around Afya Center, City Market. Unapataga like the disorderness ya public transport is nauseating. You get sick basically in Kenya cooperate smart.
Kwa hiyo barabara.
The hecticness of the jams, noise, pollution. If an efficient transport system is created for Nairobi, it can regain its former glory of our city under the sun.
Alafu inakuwa safer even.
It becomes safer.
But niliona nani alijaribu kuchange.
Nani?
Sakaja venye aliingia, alikuwa anasema ata transfer all pickup points. Kumbuka hiyo time mpaka zikaletwa hapo Uhuru. Hata tulikuwa tunatoka hapa. So I think ni wase walimpiga wakampiga mpaka akaona hii ni upuzi bana.
That is the time they got into a fight with the deputy president. Rigathi anamwambia wachana na watu wa Mlima Kenya. Watu wa Mlima Kenya walikupigia kura.
Utulie wewe.
Achana na hao. Ukianza kubishana na hao ni kesi. You know, a lot of matatu operators they are from Mount Kenya. So ishakuwa tribalized. And Sakaja was only providing a solution. Pigwa na his boss kabidi amenyamazia story.
Inaonyesha how controlling the government can be.
It can be, yeah.
Kwa sababu
overlap of duties.
Tricky stuff. How can you rate the current government, say 10 as being the best, 0 as being the worst?
In terms of just governance,
service delivery na tuseme tu general well-being of the Kenyan,
I will give them a 3, maybe 3.5. Because at least they've been you know someone was busy. Kwanza
tuwape max 3 ni inakaribia D.
3.5
inaweza kuwa
D+.
Yani D.
And at least I am justified because every opinion poll, a lot of Kenyans out there have rated them. It's not just my own assessment, but I have also taken into consideration other opinions. 3.5 because they have been busybodies. You will see committees, meetings. We have tumegawa, tutahakikisha bilioni so and so
zimetengwa,
tumeweka kamati, tumesababisha, tumepatana na rais wa vijana kazi sijui 250,000 at least tumeona. Promises have been thrown out and about, but the situation on the ground is unemployment is still a pandemic. The cost of living has still remained
tricky,
relatively still bad. The issue of fuel prices, taxation has been heavily felt by the ordinary person. Tangu nini ishuke dollar, funny enough, the many things walipandisha because dollar imepanda. Dollar ikashuka au kushukisha hizo vitu. Mafuta ilipanda tu, sawa, wamepandisha na 30 bob, wame reduce na 11 bob. Unaambiwa unaona the government is working. Fertilizer, there is the issue of fake fertilizer. They have politicized the issue of fertilizer. That was the president's pilot project. It was his deal breaker. Like fertilizer subsidy amepatia from 6,000 to 25 only for an expose by one of the leading journalists. Uliona hiyo journal namo?
Nimeona hiyo inaitwa fertile deception. So because ujaona African Uncensored Fertile Deception. African Uncensored by the Naboga Magic. Kwanza, what's your opinion on the umeona the whole
your docu-series? I think nimeona an episode or 2. We're gonna throw 3 episodes.
Sikushua 3, I think. 3. Kwa sababu hiyo story hata nilikuwa nataka tuongee kwa sababu one, as in iko na ripple effect. Kwa sababu the farmer ameibiwa do kwa sababu amenunua
Flospa.
Then akikuja apande ina affect the Kenyan food system kwa sababu food production ina go low. Na sasa at a national level ni risky. Crazy risk.
In endanger food security ya Kenya.
Lakini tumefika aje hapo? Unajua
how did we get here?
Inakaa movie. Inakaa kitu si realistic.
Ukisikia wase wako involved, also the guy that is the owner of your company inatengeneza Flospa. He's a notorious name. There was a time pia walikuwa charged, I think, with the current president. Still mambo ya agriculture. When Ruto was an Eldoret, MP wa Eldoret, na bado MP wa agriculture, CS wa agriculture, minister.
Minister.
Kuna time alikuwa na scandal. So ujamaa wa fake fertilizer was a co-accused.
Walikuwa pamoja.
Sasa alafu ndio sasa tena hivi. Sasa unashangaa. Hapo kuna mambo. Palipo na moshi pana moto.
Yeah, true.
Wamejaribu kudismiss hii story ni fake politics, right? They don't have right now someone they can blame.
Yeah.
They've blamed Uhuru for so long. Baba ndio huyo amemwambia mimi acha ni go for African duties. I'm no longer local. Kalonzo, like basically they don't have anyone who will target them.
Mama to point the finger.
Now the Kenyan himself is pointing at them.
Yeah.
I am not getting the products. I'm not getting the produce as envisioned, as promised. If fertilizer ifanye kazi, and they are arguing simply, if Lospa, it has certain properties that are good for crops. Like, it is not entirely like a poisonous thing. Ama tu mawe. You see, even when tukifanya science, you will be told Flospa has several functions. It can be used as a maybe refrigerant. It can be used as soap. It can be used as fertilizer. But sasa components zake hazijapimwa. Hawajiko na nitrogen ngapi, phosphorus, NPS. The ratio is not adding up. They don't even have some of the bags never had manufacturing, and basically ulikuwa unaona zinachimbwa, zinashonwa. Hakuna hadi any purities. So
in my opinion ni ukora 100%.
That's domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
You're endangering food security. Yani the soul of the nation is in danger.
Hata ingekuwa better kama wana mix nusu.
At least kuwa na half.
Inge make sense. Like is say direct crazy.
Wamekimbia uko enthusiastic, nimepata fertilizer cheap. Kama nimepatiwa Flospa.
Umepewa Flospa, enda ukajaze kwa shamba.
Enda ujaze mawe.
But on a serious note, we really need to tackle corruption. Crazy.
What would you suggest, Davey? What would you suggest we do that is not being done? Who's not playing?
Mi kwangu ni revolution.
Na violent one?
No. Inaweza kuwa peaceful, but mostly ochikwe peaceful. Because of violence, a revolution with new policies that do not tolerate totally corruption and bad governance. So get revolution kitu ina a prize from the masses. That's the only thing niona inaweza solve. Apart from
Can you
hiyo,
give me any example of a country that has through a successful revolution had things better?
Hiyo ni ngumu kusema.
I think countries that have resulted to the path of revolution has turned out to be even failed states. Look at Libya. Look at Sudan. Sometimes you look at countries like a lot of African countries, even the Middle Eastern, during what did they call it? The Arab Spring. A lot of countries will just wake up, populations toppling governments. Look at Haiti. Gangs are taking over the capital city. Prime Minister may resign. I think the path of a revolution.
Sikuwa najua Haiti iko karibu sana hivyo na US.
Haiti is US neighbor. Just next. Unaenda na boat.
Sindio? Na basi mbona US wa take charge? Kwa sababu hiyo violence ita spill tu ingie into their territory.
I think in terms of international politics, a failed Haiti is good for the states.
For the US.
Yeah, you know the instability. A lot of international analysts who analyze international politics will say that US thrives on the instability of certain countries. Countries like Libya, that was politically instigated by the US, Afghanistan, Yemen, Kuma Taliban wa Afghanistan,
Afghanistan,
Somalia.
so
There is the Western imperialism that has penetrated certain countries for them to be unstable. Yani tu zikiwa stable, US will suffer because they will be in order. Mambo ya oil, a lot of it is oil politics and stuff.
And it always boils down to money,
resources. The global elites would want a failed Haiti. Because a failed Haiti will allow them to use arms. Naona vile wanafanya na Kenya, wanataka kupeleka Kenya na army huko. Mbona unajiuliza mbona wasiende na wako na all basically any resource they want.
Na ni wako tu hapo.
Our poor African country like Kenya, Ruto wants the money. He sends our sons.
Anapeleka tu. But so na tu, but also we on your story revolution.
Also, I was saying, I wouldn't personally advocate for a revolutionary takeover to make things better, because that's when you find opportunists. That's when thieves, gangs now have the confidence. Na tena unaona how Kenyan police bana wana handle demonstrators. They are ruthless. Utaenda hapo haki risasi
yako
kidogo haki mekula kopa. We don't have even the state does not respect our right even to demonstrate. You see what they are doing to doctors.
Kwanza
doctors will talk about it, but it's also something bad. Look at what they do to slum people. Maybe if we will ever have a shot, according to me, I would advocate for maybe some sort of a benevolent dictator. A very strong leader who rules by the thumb, follows the constitution, but is ruthless to these other societal ills. Kama Magufuli vile alikuwa ataenda hivi aone broad project, ati contractor hajakuja siku ngapi, he calls the minister for roads. Huyu contractor hapa ni nani? Hebu nitumie namba yake. Wewe minister na huyo contractor nyumbani. Imagine if we can have a president like that.
Msiako straight.
Ati bus ngapi zimeanguka for the past 3 weeks? What is happening in our roads? What's happening? Summon the minister right away. Comes and explains himself. Maybe before you go to any other country, make sure umetengeneza hii mambo ya safety in the roads. If it's someone like Minister of Agriculture, you hear such a scandal of mambo ya fertilizer, something which is your project. Take charge as a leader, as a president. You don't have to always make these institutions super strong. EACC, don't politicize them. If it is the DCI, make it strong. If it is the court, don't interfere. But the only thing you do as the president, you become a benevolent dictator where the people always comes first. Your interests, put them aside. If these people will want to give you another 5 years, well and good. But at least you have tried to remove. Ruto mwenyewe angekuwa na goodwill, we would be hearing every single day corrupt cases what wana suspend you. You don't have to wait for the entire court process. Have you been mentioned in a scandal? EACC tu imekumention ati wana kuinvestigate. Suspended ama step aside to allow investigations. Investigations zikiisha
unaweza rudi.
You can come back. But sasa umekalia you're the big boy in the office, they are investigating you. You will frustrate everything.
So Kenya revolution umesema itawaka.
Revolution, I think Kenya we are stable. We don't fight. We are relatively a stable democracy. If we go that path, we will be just another failed African state like Congo. See how Congo is doing bad.
Alafu nimeona war isaidiagi mtu yote.
No one gains in war. It's just the elites, those who sell weapons, those who sell grenades, watu wini. Hao ndio wase wana gain na war.
Na sasa wenye watakuja accumulate power after.
So the person who gains in a revolution is not who started it or who continues it, but he who ends it. Ule anamaliza hiyo revolution if is the one who
ndio anapata the silver and gold.
The likes of Museveni.
Nye Museveni alikuwa soldier
general. Usikiage na waambiage huko. Waambia Bobi Wine. Unataka ikiti ingia mstuni.
Bas.
Pigania. Me I had to go to the forest and fight government to get it. So if kama unataka kuoi serikali ama kama unataka kunisumbua sana ndarudi mstuni.
That's a point moja mstuni.
Kenya, by the way, we are blessed. Tutakuwa radicals.
Yeah.
They say Kenya is the west of Africa. Like we are. Naona vile wanasema the people of the west, yani wazungu. Sisi tuko na tabia. Kenyan man would easily relate with the Western world than most of the African countries. It's true. Mtanzania kizungu ni
kizungu kidogo taswishi.
Pale Uganda Banyankole, Kibaganda inawatatanisha. South Africa Kizulu imepia, but Kenya you find good fluent. Nasikia jirani anaongea kizungu lakini ako njaa. Hivyo ndo Tanzania walikuwa wanatuambia juzi. Jirani ako na kizungu mzuri lakini njaa inawamaliza huko. Lakini huko corruption imewamaliza.
Corruption haiishi.
In literacy levels we are good.
Yeah.
So pia sisi taka we take the path of animals, because cool revolutions, yes, it's but it is always written with blood.
Yeah. Yenye hakuna venye ita happen bila
hakuna a peaceful revolution. Blood will always spill.
I think we can call it quits for now. Tumepiga nao tu. Safi kitu safi.
Imekuwa time poa manze. Nimefurahia. We have a lot to talk about. When it comes to legal issues also.
Niwe tu nitafute. Sisi tu tuko tu. Unaona set ready, everything ready.
Set iko ready. Haina shida bro.
Aya, so let's finish it there. To all our subscribers, what on our watch, big shout out to all of you guys. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Race to the first 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe. Peace out.